Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week, brought to you by La Valley Building Supply. I'm Mike Pizzone, joined by Jeremy Stout. And Jeremy, we're set to begin the final quarter here at Woodstock Union High School. And the Wasps have a long way to come if they want to have a chance at pulling off this upset here.
Yeah, a tough third quarter, and I think it's deja vu from our last game where it was close, and then the third quarter was somewhat of a blowout. So we'll hope the ending ends up the same way, because that game ended up being close. Fall Mountain, Mascoma boys. Woodstock only scoring 5 points in that quarter to 15 for Windsor.
And Abrahamson showing her presence in the paint. Just kind of has a knack for finding that rim even when she has her back turned to it. Showing some skill there. She gets that to fall.
Picking up right where she left off with 4 points in that third quarter.
As Luce, nice drive to the bucket, gets that layup in. So she's playing well herself. Just a reminder that our Game of the Week premieres every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. or on demand anytime at ycnnow.com. Gray driving hard to the hoop. Nice move. Can't get that layup to fall. And Woodstock comes up with the board.
Well, still playing hard, still fighting hard. You have plenty of time. Get some defensive stops and some conversions. But a little bit of a strange play there. Somebody was in the wrong spot.
Nice pass by Comstock, and that's going to be number 42, Kylie Williams. Gets that layup. So good ball movement, some unselfish play by Windsor. And they're able to add to their points. Once again, Windsor coming away with a turnover, although it gives it right back.
Good defense in the backcourt by Gray. Making Woodstock work for it.
And Abrahamson showing her defensive presence, coming up with yet another block for the Yellow Jackets. So we know we've seen a lot of offense from the likes of Ashley Wilcox, but Abrahamson also making a strong case for herself to be that H.R. Clough, Kearsarge Heating Oil, turning up the heat player of the game. I don't know if you keep too many block stats in that stat book over here.
Don't have that column.
But she's really, she's going to get called for the travel there, but she's come up with some solid plays on the defensive end tonight.
I heard next game you guys were hiring a statistician. In the YCN budget, they put it in.
I hope you're right on that. As Woodstock continuing to fight here, even with the deficit. Maddie Schultz driving hard to the hoop. And once again, well, we'll see if she goes to the line for two, if they're going to call that on the floor.
See, it looks like they're pointing to an out of bounds, inbounds, and I don't understand what that call is. She was clearly driving, and it wasn't continuation. It's not
Correct.
like it was like continuation. She was driving to the hoop, and she was impeded by putting the shot up because she was fouled.
Right.
It wasn't as if she decided not to put, and they're going to go one-on-one because of the foul.
Bonus situation, yep.
But
so either way, justice is somewhat being served, although to your point, she has to make this first one in order to get the second free throw.
And that's I think it's the second time I've seen that happen tonight, where, we touched on it originally, and I said, okay, well, maybe I saw it wrong, maybe something, but then to see that same exact play where she's clearly driving, but I guess the refs aren't in a generous mood tonight.
Gray drove hard to the hoop, but unable to get the shot off, and Schultz coming away with the loose ball.
Well, here's some, a moment where, you can learn a little bit about your team in a tough defeat, down 21, how they're going to respond and how they're going to play this last string of 5 minutes out, and, what kind of effort they're going to give in a probably losing cause.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You almost sometimes find out more about your team in a losing effort than you do sometimes in a win. If your team is continuing to play hard in this kind of deficit, you're happy as a coach that they, are continuing to work toward improving and fine-tuning that offense.
Nice basket there by Erica Gray. Continues to put points on the board. She now has 11.
Yeah, both Gray sisters are seeing a lot of time on the floor with as we mentioned, plethora of injuries right now for the Yellow Jackets. Sickness, a couple injuries. So Coach McKay forced to go pretty deep into his bench.
Stop us if you've seen this one before. Schultz at the line.
This time she does knock down the front end of the 1-and-1, so that will earn her a second shot.
She's really been the only one to get the offense going here in the second half by her driving attempts. She's been at the free throw line now. I believe that was her 5th time at the line in the second half.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see those numbers as far as foul shots for Windsor versus foul shots for Woodstock. It does seem like Woodstock has been to the line a lot more than Windsor tonight, although you wouldn't know that by looking at the scoreboard. As Schultz drives hard to the hoop, that time a clean block by Gray, and it's going to remain Woodstock ball.
Yeah, I think the one reason why, like you mentioned, the score is you would seem that Windsor would be at the line a lot, but they've really had some good shots, and Woodstock, when they've played good defense, and when Wilcox was driving to the hoop, she was untouched most of the time.
And that shot does fall. It's number 10, Mariah Luce, knocking down the three-pointer for the Wops. And we're going to have a timeout from Windsor, so we're going to take that timeout too from our YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week, brought to you by LaValle Building Supply. I'm Mike Pizzone, joined by Jeremy Stout. And Jeremy, seems like all but a formality this final 4 minutes, 9 seconds here, with Windsor ahead by a comfortable margin. But still, both teams have a lot to prove here. As we've mentioned earlier, some illness and injuries on Windsor's side, getting a lot of the younger players into the court. And same thing for Woodstock, a good opportunity for some of those younger players to get some pivotal varsity minutes here.
Yeah, this is the time you get some players in and you get to see how they react to, the big time. And right now we've got Maddie Schultz really taking over. She's just, driving to the hole, and she'll get fouled. She'll go to the line again in the second half.
Yeah, I don't know that they want to go home tonight. I think they just want to keep on driving to the hoop, getting these free throws, and elongating this game as long as possible.
Makes the first one, and she'll go to 6 for 10 from the line. So 10 free throws, made 6 of them.
Just living at the line tonight. And knocks that one down as well. So getting a little bit more comfortable with this longevity on the line. And
yeah, she's made her last 2 trips, 4 for 4. So she is getting a little bit more comfortable. And now I don't know if that was kind of a game plan where they said okay, or if it was just kind of a frustration thing where she says, I'm going to take over, I'm just going to the hoop.
Nice ball movement by Woodstock, and that's going to be number 2, Gabby Rozumek, getting the layup on the transition point. So that just shows you how a good defense, a turnover, can lead to quick, easy points in transition, and that's something that Woodstock would like to see a lot more of this season.
Well, and Woodstock just got another stop there, and they'll get the ball back. So while it is a 14-point game with 3:20 to go, you wouldn't think that, okay, this is a chance for them to come back, but you hit a couple shots, you put Windsor back on their heels. Obviously, we talked about Wilcox probably not coming in this game. Anything could happen.
Yeah, if I had a nickel for every time in my March Madness bracket I turned off the TV with a team up 14 and I end up losing that game, I mean, you're right, 14 points, 3 minutes to go. By no means is this an unsurmountable deficit. But that said, you got to make some baskets, and you got to make them relatively quickly.
Right, and the one thing working, or one of the things working against Woodstock is the no shot clock. So, if Windsor really wants to have a possession of 30 to 40 seconds, they can do that. So we'll see if they employ that strategy here.
Although pretty quick on the shot there as Schultz comes up with the rebound. And Schultz trying to get the ball quick up the floor, but it still will remain Woodstock ball.
Trying to keep Windsor running, keep them on their heels.
Nice pass under the hoop. They're going to say that's out of bounds, though, and that's going to go Windsor's way. Just a reminder that our Game of the Week premieres every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. or on demand anytime at ycnnow.com. So approaching that final 2.5 minutes to go in the contest as Jenna Sanderson knocks down a nice 18-foot jumper for the Yellow Jackets. I believe that's her first bucket of the day. So
first basket.
Getting her in the box score, and Well, you see a lot of people lined up to get into the game for Woodstock, so it looks like Coach Smith is going to empty his bench after this timeout. So we'll take a timeout, too, from our YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week, brought to you by LaValle Building Supply. And it's the visiting Windsor Yellow Jackets with a comfortable 51-35 lead with 2:23 to play here in the final quarter. And I think Coach Smith has acknowledged that deficit being a little too much as he's emptied out his bench, and it looks like he's got his entire, not a single starter in the game right now. So not that he's throwing in the towel per se, but he is, like we talked about earlier, trying to get those younger players some experience and building on the future.
Yeah, get him some experience, try something new out, get him to the free throw line, see what happens, see how they play, some defense. And unfortunately, you don't want to be in this position, but you got to look at the silver lining.
And there is quite the silver lining. I mean, this is a young Woodstock team with just 3 seniors. And that said, some of its top players in the likes of Maddie Schultz and Mariah Luce are both juniors. So certainly a lot to be said for this strategy of getting those younger players some minutes, because the future is bright for this Woodstock team.
And as we mentioned earlier in the quarter, you see a 3 there by Jenna Sanderson.
Knocks down her second field goal of the game.
As we talked about earlier, you don't want to give up even though you're down big, and keep going. And they've outscored, Woodstock has outscored Windsor 13-11 in this fourth quarter. So they're playing them tight, just like they had done in the second quarter. Unfortunately, the first and third quarter, they didn't get out of the gate fast enough.
As Gray comes up with the steal, has a wide open layup, and she gets that. So unfortunately, in this situation, Windsor has that amount of depth where even when Windsor does go to the bench, they still have a lot of skill on the floor against this young, kind of a lot of swing JV-ish players for Woodstock right now. So somewhat of an unbalanced atmosphere right now.
Yeah, this Windsor team, they are, a little bit of a slow start so far this season, but they'll get back to 500 and try and keep plugging away. And they've got some good players, and now that Wilcox is back, this team can go deep into the tournament.
And I'm sure that's exactly what Coach McKay is thinking. Obviously, he needs to get some of those ill players back in the lineup, like Madeline Morris. Also, Megan Herschel, both out of the game tonight with an illness. So once he gets the rest of his players healthy and have Wilcox back in all cylinders, there's no telling how far these Yellow Jackets can go.
Seen some good free throw shooting here in the fourth quarter as Blakeney and Schultz have combined for 7. Now make that 8 made free throws on only 9 attempts.
Just a reminder to watch YCN News every weekday at 7 and 10 p.m. on YCN, your local view. You can also tune into YCN's Outside Television on Comcast HD, Channel 713 or Channel 21 for all the outdoors adventures you love. Got a jump ball situation. It's going to remain Windsor's ball under the basket. And Jeremy, we're at that pivotal final minute of the contest where it's time to unveil our HR Club Kearsarge Heating Oil Turning Up the Heat Player of the Game. And kind of an interesting one tonight. Usually it's a player that sees pretty much the whole, is on the court for the whole entire game. Today, this our award winner probably didn't even play half the game. But if you want to unveil our winner?
Our winner tonight is number 4, Ashley Wilcox, with 15 points on the evening, and you are correct, not playing at all in the fourth quarter. She sat out a little bit of the second quarter, so I don't have her total minutes, but you're right, not a lot of time, as this one kind of got away from them early, but 15 points. Give her credit for playing a great game in only her second game back, as we mentioned.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, obviously we saw her limping and she's got some ice on her leg right now. But again, I don't know how much of this is Coach McKay just kind of weaning her back into these full minutes. I'm sure he's not trying to get her into a complete game this early. That said, obviously she still is battling a little bit of injuries. But congratulations to Ashley Wilcox on being named our HR Clough Kearsarge Heating Oil Turning Up the Heat Player of the Game. Well deserved.
Yeah, and a few things all combined to limit her minutes. Obviously, her second game back, she had the injury that may have re-aggravated it, and it's a pretty substantial victory, margin of victory here. So all those things colliding in one, and she only has, probably fewer than 16, 18 minutes.
And since you're our designated color commentator since Math Guru, Windsor won by 18 points when these teams met a few weeks ago. Does my math serve me? That's the same exact deficit right now?
Looking like it could be, unless we get a quick basket here. You would be correct.
And with 3.4 seconds in the game, this may be deja vu.
So it'll be interesting to see what Coach Justin Smith has, talking to his team. It's tough because you lost by 18 the first time. You thought you might have a little bit better effort. You just ran into a really hot shooting Windsor team tonight.
And for Coach Bruce McKay's team, you have got to be pleased when you come in. Again, he was a little nervous coming into this game being that shorthanded, but a nice, comfortable 18-point victory. And it's the Windsor Yellow Jackets leaving Woodstock with a 57-39 victory and putting an end to a 3-game skid. So congratulations to the Windsor Yellow Jackets. And stay tuned after the break for some post-game reaction from our YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week, brought to you by LaValle Building Supply. I'm here with Ashley Wilcox after her team's convincing win over Woodstock. And I know you got to feel happy. A good performance out of you tonight and just your second game back from injury. How do you feel about your performance and how the team did coming into this game?
It was a little difficult without our two starters, Madeline Morrison, Megan Herschel, but we really pulled through as a team, I think, and we came out with the win.
Yeah, and to that point, I was talking to Coach McKay before the game, and like you said, he was a little nervous without the two starters, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Kind of thought that maybe this would be a closer game than when you guys played them last time, but not the case. I mean, you guys still came away with a comfortable win. What does that say about the depth of your team?
I think we did better this time because we were pushing the ball more. We used our team more instead of just one person scoring more of the points, which is what I think we need to do more of.
Well, congratulations on the win and good luck going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm here with Coach Bruce McKay after his team's 18-point victory over Woodstock. And Coach, in talking to you before the game, you were a little nervous without two starters. Thought maybe this would be a closer game than the last time you faced them, but obviously your team really gelled together, showing some depth. What worked for you guys today?
Well, it helps a lot when you have Ashley back. Ashley generates a lot of offense, plays solid defense, and makes everybody run the floor better. And I thought a lot of players stepped up tonight with the absence of Megan Herschel and Maddie Morse. Two key players for us. But I just think we played well defense. We ran our offense a lot better than we have in the past. And we finished, and I thought Annika Abrahamson gave a big game for us on the boards and putting the ball in the hole.
And that's another one that Jeremy and I mentioned. I mean, a handful of blocks, a handful of rebounds and putbacks, kind of a quiet, I'm not sure exactly how many points she finished with today, but really made some noise for you guys tonight. How big was her role?
Oh, big role. With Maddie out, Annika knew she had to rebound a little bit more. What she did tonight was more or less rebound out of her space real well. And she finished better than she has in the past. And she always gets 3 or 4 blocks every game. Tonight she must have had 4 or 5 anyways. And just a key performance by her.
And then lastly, I know you guys have had a couple tough losses heading into the game against Newport, New Hampshire, against Mill River. What does this win do for your team confidence-wise going into the second half of the season and potentially what you guys hope to be a long tournament run?
Well, I think when we get everybody healthy again, I think we can play much better basketball than we're playing right now. Of course, Newport and Mill River are very solid teams. I thought we played with them, but then again, we didn't have, Ashley wasn't there, and Maddie's been sick for 2 weeks, and we finally just shut her down this past week, and it looks like another week, so it looks like she won't be there for the Newport game either.
Well, hopefully things will pan out when it matters most down the road. So congratulations and good luck going forward, Coach.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach. Well, Jeremy, it was the Windsor Yellow Jackets coming away with a big win on the road, 57-39 victory over Woodstock. And I believe you have some final point totals for us as far as how things panned out today?
Yeah, good effort on Windsor to come up here and get a win, and it could have been a matchup that went either way. And obviously Windsor really in control from pretty much the start to finish, and leading the team, Ashley Wilcox, as you mentioned, with 15 points, Annika Abrahamson with 12, and Erica Gray with 11 for Windsor. So a good all-around effort by their team. A little disheartening on the Woodstock side. Couldn't get anything to fall. But, that's the break sometimes, and Windsor comes out of here with a good win.
Yeah, and that's absolutely a good point, and we just heard it from Coach McKay himself, obviously expecting a little more injuries down the road, or excuse me, Madeline Morris, he's expecting her to be out for another week or so at least. So, still a little bit of time to, get these players healthy again and prepare yourself for what they hope to be a long tournament run. That does it from Woodstock Union High School, where it was the visiting Windsor Yellow Jackets coming away with the 57-39 victory over the home team.